like kids grow up.
Yo, I'm sorry to keep cutting you off.
No,
but
you're good.
You keep talking about how like you're talking about negativity, bro. Look at Ryan Garcia. Look at his numbers right now. Look at how viral he is.
Yeah.
Because people assume he's going nuts.
Yeah.
And people like to watch people's downfalls.
And then I noticed it's like he almost like realized like, well, this shit's really working, and he just keeps doing it.
Dude, when we did him on the pod, you were supposed to be there. You couldn't be there, but he seems completely normal, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I was sitting next to him, and, you know, we hung out with him. We went to the Dallas Stars game. I don't really know hockey, but we went to the Stars game for a little bit.
Yeah.
And, bro, he's vibing. Like, he's fine. And it's crazy because what he said after he says all the kids, then all of a sudden you have this Diddy stuff coming out. Nickelodeon.
Dan Schneider.
Dan Schneider coming out, and you're just like, dude, this is like, now no one talks about what he was saying was so crazy.
Yeah. It's almost like that motherfucker is right. I don't know about what personally happened to him. I can't attest to any of that, but well, I mean, all this stuff these are things that people have kind of like known about, but it's just never really been as out there as it is now. Because it's crazy. Like
the Nickelodeon. Did you actually watch it or no?
I watched clips? I watched up to right before the Drake episode, so I didn't watch that episode yet. Which I hear that's the craziest part.
It is, but it's like there was rules. So if you're doing kids TV, like if you're 10 or 11 and you have a show with Disney, your parents are required to be there.
Yeah, but I watched enough to know that like they kind of are there, but there's that weird sense of like, well, I don't want to make this person mad, and I was watching the show because then that might change opportunities for my kid, so I kind of hang back.
It's wild, and that's true, dude. Like their parents and the kids even were like, dude, I don't want to piss the guy off who's, you know, being,
the head writer.
Being a pedophile because I don't want to lose my career. So it's really sad. The one thing I just always thought was weird is like, dude, here's the thing, and I'm just gonna say this: the one in the Drake episode, there's this guy who's one of the producers who is like picking Drake up from school, taking him to auditions, and he's like 40 years old, right?
Yeah.
And Drake's 15 at the time.
Yeah.
And he's a gay guy who's doing this.
Right.
And in my mind, I'm like, if that was a guy picking up a 15-year-old girl, it's an immediate red flag all the time.
Every single time.
Every single time. If you're a father, you're like, yo, what the f- is this guy doing around my daughter all the time? Like, that's weird.
Yeah.
And Drake's dad said, like, yo, I saw that and I felt uncomfortable. And it's just that
didn't they then try to like get them like some sort of wedge between the family? So it was like he went with the mom.
Yeah, he cut the dad off, bro. Drake cut his own father off because they were so in his career and thought that this dude who was picking him up all the time could really help his success.
It's weird how in that time too, I think because social media wasn't what it is today, like it wasn't even existing.
That's why all this coming out now.
Yeah, because the internet has, even though it's like created this weird shitstorm of like, it's like negative all the time, it's also unraveled like a lot of things that people in the past could have like just overlooked or like hidden.
Right.
So now it's just like
easily hidden.
Yeah. And it's weird when I see that stuff too. And I watch that thing. I remember watching those shows like the Amanda Bynes show and all this shit and thinking like, never thinking at one moment that shit was weird. And then you see certain clips and I'm like, I'm older now. I'm like, this shit up.
Yeah.
Like there was that Ariana Grande.
The Ariana Grande one was
with
wild,
the potato thing. I'm like, bro, what?
Pouring water on herself in the bed. Like you're just like,
upside down. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. These people get in a position of powers and then just like, do you just think they're just untouchable, I guess. And then so my question to that was, imagine if I had $1 billion today. Does that mean all of a sudden I want to be a weird psychopath that like, I don't understand the children
that part
thing.
I don't get either.
That's the thing I will never get is like, at what point do you go, I'm going to do this weird shit.
Well, I mean, dude, even streamers these days are doing it. Like a lot of those weirdos, predators are out there. They're not only rich, right?
Yeah.
So I think the ones that are rich, it is crazy that it's always the most powerful ones. Yeah. But I mean, they're going to have that spotlight on them. So everyone's going to know about that. So it's not the majority, but like when it is one of them, it's the talk of the town. But there's all these normal weird guys out there. Like I even think about it today, bro. The fact that To Catch a Predator was a show is insane to me that like, dude, the network or whatever is making money off that.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like they're doing something that's great and they're catching these people, but like it's for people's entertainment. Like people are watching that and being entertained by that. It's a crazy concept if you think about it.
Well, that's a really good concept. That's a really good thing you brought up, which also brings like a really interesting topic is like, then, because the crazy thing is like, we're talking about it. I'm making money from this whole thing from it, right? I don't think we're talking about it in a way that we're trying to like make it be like a problem in a sense. But then when I think about certain shows or certain podcasts, like even like OnlyFans girls and all this, like, you know, like the Fresh and Fit stuff. And like, they're like, they constantly pretty much like make these girls look pretty stupid, like asking them questions, but they're still thriving off of that monetarily.
Yeah, it is a crazy concept.
And like, dude, I don't have a problem with it, but it's weird. And then, you know, you have other streamers or other people, other influencers who, same thing. They're like, yo, this is bad. But then they like, but even the part of their narrative as they're like saying this is bad, they're knowing that they're getting other people to go, yeah, it's bad. But that's also just furthering their pocketbooks, basically.
Dude, of course. That's why I've always said, like, people who are at their phones, don't take shit seriously.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, obviously, like, there are certain moral things. It's like, yo, I do believe certain things are wrong. Like, I do believe men, like young men, shouldn't watch porn. Like, I think it's terrible, right? There's tons of concepts that are like, yeah, this is true. But there is this line of like, people do things at that level knowing like they're going to get a certain audience to ride for them, to sell their products as well, or to get the views as well. And I just find it also interesting because it all comes down to like the same sort of idea. Now, is one side more fighting for good than the other? In some cases, I do believe so, but it's just a weird concept where it's like, I don't think the true intentions of the person fighting on whatever side is always just like, yo, this is for the good of people.
No,
I feel like
I don't think it's ever like that, bro.
Yeah.
You hear what Mike says. Mike actually, but he's like that on and off camera.
Yeah.
So he actually does believe in that. But, bro, people, like, it's the same thing. I hate to go back to Andrew Tate, but, like, dude, he knows what guys are going to buy into.
Yeah.
Like, no shit, dude. Do you want to have a girl that has a low body count? Okay, let's preach that.
Yeah.
Every guy's going to agree with that. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yeah, you want to marry a girl with a low body count. It's really not that deep. It's pretty much common sense. But he
Right.
knows people are going to buy into that.
Yeah.
So they just, like, you can take, like, these ideas that everyone believes in and just preach that. And then you're like, okay. Like,
And then you garner an audience that is
dude,
like,
there was a time where I thought, like, I thought it was okay to like, cheat on my girlfriend.
What? Why?
Because, like, that was, like, a thing that Tate preached. Like, he's like, I'm a male. I do it for physical reasons. And then I start to sit there and think, like, I agree 100%.
Because you can rationalize it for yourself.
Yeah, because you're like, damn, like, what he's saying is absolutely right. Like, I'm a guy. Like, I need to do this shit.
I mean, men and women are different.
Yeah, but, like, you think about it and you're like, is that really right? Probably not.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Has there ever been, are there other things that you've realized that are just like, damn, like that? Or you at one moment you're like, damn, I fully believe this. So like where you're at now, because like you've seen more, you've been involved more. Anything else you're like, you're really strongly
I've just learned, like, you can tell when certain things, before I got into this, I would see things on YouTube and be like, oh, wow, like, this guy is, like, such a good person, or, like, this guy really believes in it. And then, like, you just see that certain people do stuff. They're just doing it for the camera, you know? It's good content and people buy into it. So, like, it might get views and they might be doing something good for somebody, but they don't actually really give a fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's common. And one thing, and when I worked for Steve, is the thing that was so special about Steve is he gave away a lot of money off camera too.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen him probably give away $100,000 just to over time to, like, valet people, tips. Like, he would just give money, like, because he was just kind of like that. But I've noticed and learned now that a lot of people, like, just kind of do that to do it
for the clicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is nothing crazy.
Yeah.
But you really, like, when you're on the other side, you really can just believe or buy into anything.